Have you ever had something that has just eaten at you for a long time, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That is until you start doing something else that takes your mind off of everything. For me, that's yard work. And today, while I was out digging up a whole bunch of weeds, I started to feel a little bit hot and bothered. So today, I'm going to introduce you to a new segment where I will dive into things that tend to eat at us as parents, or things that we might not realize why we have a problem with, but it's going to be a hot take on something that has been going around and has been hitting me at home, literally in the mailbox. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the Emotionful Dad Channel. I'm Rob. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for making it today. Today we're going to talk about the Sticker Club. On its surface, the Sticker Club seems to be a very kind-hearted, fun, and wonderful experience for our children to partake in. The whole idea behind it is you receive this letter and you go out and you buy packs of stickers. Upon doing so, you fill out a blank sheet, you make some copies beforehand, and you send this letter with your name and somebody else's name to a friend with a pack of stickers. So over time, based on what the letter says, you'll end up getting 36 sets of stickers, and you'll get so many letters in the mail for your kiddo. Who doesn't like getting stuff in the mail, especially free things that you like? Kids generally really like stickers. So at first I'm like, this seems like a great idea. And then I started reading the letter, and there were two big things that stuck out to me. So for the sake of those who have not seen this, I'm going to go ahead and read it, and I'm going to try to put it up on screen so you can see it as well. So it says, "Dear blank," this would be where your kid's name goes. "Welcome to the Sticker Club. Please send one pack of stickers to the person listed in the number 1 spot. Next, move my name to the number 1 spot and put your name in the number 2 spot. Then send the letter to 6 friends." So far, so good. Here comes the problem. If you cannot do this in 6 days, please let my mom know, because it is not fair to all the other kids who have participated so far. We'll come back to that in a second, so hold on to that thought. The rest goes, within 2 weeks, you should receive 36 packs of stickers. This is a lot of fun and exciting to see where your stickers come from. I also love getting mail, don't you? Thank you for participating. Your friend. P.S. To the parents, please take the time for this quick project. It is worth it to see the smile on your child's face when they open their mail. And it goes on to describe what's enclosed, how to make it easier, what you need to do. Okay, so let's dive back into that earlier sentence. The earlier sentence says, if you cannot do this within 6 days, please let my mom know, because it is not fair to all the other kids who have participated so far. Within this are 2 glaring issues. The first one is the idea of consent. You might be wondering what consent has to do with this. Well, there are multiple different kinds of consent that people don't really realize. And the one that really matters the most is affirmative consent, which also has 2 layers. So let's dive into affirmative consent first. That is the concept of being able to agree to something before participating in it. I don't remember ever having the chance to do that with this. I received this letter and therefore a commitment that I didn't sign up for, that I didn't ask for. And while granted is not very difficult, is not something that I had opted to do. And now I've been told, do this. That causes me some problems. If people are so interested in doing this and sharing in this, how hard is it to say, hey, I am doing this sticker chain. Would you like to do it? Maybe I would say yes. Maybe I would say no. But the choice would be in my hands, and I would be able to say, yes, I want to do this, or I'm sorry, I don't have the capacity for that right now. By receiving this letter, I wasn't given a choice, and now I'm forced to have to do more to opt out. And there is the problem with consent. Consent is choosing to opt in, not having the opportunity to opt out. I've been trying to find a good example of this idea of opting in versus opting out, And one that I came up with is the idea of gym membership. As an adult, if all of a sudden you got in the mail from a gym, hey, congratulations, we've signed you up for a free trial of our gym. Okay, sure, that's great. If you don't want this, please let us know within 6 days, otherwise we will start sending you monthly bills. Okay, hold on, excuse me. That would be an idea of they opted me in without my permission, without my agreement, and decided that that was okay. And that they decided that they could then bring me consequences if I choose not to opt out. Now, again, this is a very drastic example and very different than what we see here, and is actually technically illegal based on a lot of different laws. But the concept here is the same. By not having the right to choose whether to participate or not, I am being opted in against my will. Even if I decide to participate in the end, I still was put into this position without my permission. There are also these other pieces to consent that are really important that most people don't consider. And the one I really want to dive into and is very near and dear to my heart as a therapist is informed consent. Informed consent is the concept that you are given all of the information ahead of time so that you know what you are agreeing to, all of the risks, all of the challenges, all of the consequences, the rights you have in doing something, including the right you have to decide not to do it later, which is also a form of consent. You are always allowed to change your mind. But this concept gets into the idea of there is informed pieces within this letter. There is information that tells you what you need to do. But I was not given that ahead of time to decide whether I wanted to commit to this endeavor or not. And so this really goes against the idea of affirmative and informed consent. I get one of them after the fact, and that to me is not okay. Now, this may all sound a little bit whiny or complaining, and I agree in some ways. There are some pieces here where I'm making this bigger than it needs to be. It's not hard to text somebody and say, hey, I'm not doing this. The concept that I think is really important here is, as a society, we need to understand the idea of consent and whether we give people commitments or whether we offer them the opportunity. This is one of those places where I think this was done with very positive intent. It was done trying to be kind, and somebody thought this would be a really nice way of brightening some kids' lives. And I think it might. There's a good chance it could. I know every time my daughter's got something in the mail, she's been really excited. The challenge here is, as the adult, I wasn't given a choice whether to participate or not. And this kind of situation will come up a lot for my daughter. And as the emotionful dad of a daughter, I am very aware of the idea of consent. And I want to teach my daughter what it means to be able to give consent and to help her understand when things are not appropriate or right. Because again, think about how many situations your child could be in where somebody may assume something and not ask. And then it's up to your child to have to stop them and say no and do all of that extra work for something they didn't even ask for. That's not okay to me. I want to build a society where we all take a few seconds. It doesn't take long to just reach out to somebody and say, hey, would you like to do this? Here's the information, let me know. No problems. Not hard at all. Not something that I think would be beyond most people. And so this idea of consent is really important, not because this letter is the problem. It's a symptom of a broader problem of not understanding that people have the right to affirm and give their consent before being opted into something. So I got off on a little bit of a direction towards the consent piece, which now I feel like I can bring it back to the second part, which is the final part of this sentence that I read earlier. Please let my mom know, because it is not fair to all the other kids who have participated so far. Which technically would be correct if I would have opted in. If I said, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to send these stickers, I want to be a part of this. Yeah, if I didn't hold up my end of the bargain, that's on me. Now, the challenge here is this is using guilt and shame to try to drive me to participate in this activity that I didn't agree to participate in the first place. This is saying, if you do not do this, you are hurting other kids and you are making them sad, or you are doing something that causes them harm. They don't get what they deserve, which, yeah, if I would have agreed to it, makes a whole lot of sense. Again, the challenge here is don't use shame and guilt to try to manipulate somebody's behavior into participating. If somebody has agreed to something and they're not holding up their end of the bargain, yes, call them on it. I didn't agree to this. I'm not doing anything unfair by not participating. As a matter of fact, by forcing me to participate and trying to manipulate me through the shame and guilt method, which is very common, unfortunately, I'm actually the one being wronged. So consider this idea here not only of consent, but also of if you don't consent or if you don't do these things on the time frame I gave you, I'm going to try to make you feel bad about it. That's really problematic. That is extremely problematic. The themes here are the problem. The idea is fantastic. I love it. I wish people would have texted me ahead of time and said, hey, I am doing this. Would you like to participate? I would have added stickers onto my grocery list. I would have gotten 7, 10, how many ever stamps it is. It's not that expensive. And I would be jumping in ready to go because I would be prepared. I would be in agreement. And I would know exactly what's expected of me, and I could do it in a time frame that worked for me. None of that happened. These letters, and this is not the only one I've gotten about 3 or 4 at least, have all shown up unasked for, unbidden, with a commitment that I didn't agree to, and shame and guilt for not doing it. I find this to be a problem, and this is a broader problem in our society where oftentimes people assume you're going to do things or that you'll want to participate when maybe you don't, and maybe you have good reason. And even that aside, whether you have a reason or not, you always have the right to say no. If people would have texted, I would have been, sorry, I just got back from out of town helping my dad after his surgery. My wife just started school and my daughter transitioned into a new classroom and is having some sleep regression. I don't have the capacity for this. I can't imagine anybody blaming me for that. Life is busy right now, and we don't have the time to add in this extra piece, however small it may be. But again, even if that is all true for me, do I owe other people an explanation for my no? That's up to you. I'm of the firm belief that you have the right to say no, whether you have valid reasons or not, because you might not always know what your reasons are. When I got this letter, I felt this initial angst and frustration and anxiety about now I have something more to do on my never-ending list of things I'm already doing while I'm having problems with sleep. That feeling didn't necessarily tell me what was wrong with this. It just told me that there was something that wasn't working for me. Only after I got a bit hot and bothered did I start to realize why that was a problem, leading to this video. And so this concept of being able to say no without qualification, I think is really powerful and really important for each of us to know we have the right to do. You're still allowed to give reasons. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's really helpful or important to give reasons because you might care that the other person knows why you're saying no. But you never have to. You have the right to say no to something. End. Stop. Period. That is it. You have the right to consent to what you do with your time, your body, your energy, your money, everything. And that is one piece that I feel like oftentimes gets me very hot and bothered. Thanks for watching. See you next time.